Welcome to District Talk. I'm your host, Chad McLaughlin of District Home Loans. You know, in real estate, you have many folks who make it their career to get a buyer and a seller to the finish line. You have the realtor, you have the loan officer, you have the title and settlement agent, the insurance agent, and then you also have folks like investors who make it a career in investing, out of investing, just buying and selling real estate. They make a whole career out of that. Today, our guest wears many hats. Many hats. Many of those hats that we just talked about. So you're a realtor, you're a loan officer, an investor,
a dad,
a
husband,
and a vice president of a real estate group.
Yeah.
Our very own District Home Loans and District Pro Realty.
No, thank you, Chad, for having me in the podcast. I strongly appreciate it. And today it's going to be an exciting episode. We're going to talk about a little bit of the entire career that you could get in real estate.
Right.
Essentially, real estate has a lot of fruitful career path.
Yes.
So it's up to you, like where you want to go, how you want to end up.
Right. So
before
we get started, though, what I want to do is, of course, introduce you, Joel Ventura, Vice President, District Home Loans, District Pro Realty.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So first, I thought what we would do is just kind of get a little bit of background on you, your journey in real estate, and then from there, we'll talk about some of the ins and outs of what it's like to have a career in real estate.
Right.
Yeah. And maybe for our folks that are listening, this is more for them, and maybe for the folks that are thinking about having a career in real estate, what it's like to have a career in real estate. What are some of the benefits?
Yeah, and I can say the same thing about yourself too. What is it to be in real estate? 'Cause,
I love it. I mean, I find myself very fortunate to have landed where I've landed. I think for a lot of folks, people in real estate, they didn't really intend to be in real estate.
That's right. I went to school for architecture.
Right. Okay.
For architecture.
Yeah, and I went to school for hospitality management.
Hospitality.
So, yeah,
I can see the relation. But
I thought when I was younger, I was going to become this like restaurant owner. I was going to open up franchises. I had all these big goals and aspirations, and then you kind of realize, the money that it costs to have a franchise, to run a restaurant, and then on top of that, the time that you have to put into it, which is a lot.
I made my decision on my career path when I was 8 years old.
Oh.
I was 8 years old.
Okay.
I felt that my dad did some type of inception.
Okay.
Inception in my brain. I ate. Yeah. Thank you, Dad.
Yeah.
He made me play with a lot of puzzles.
Okay. All right.
But not any puzzles. It would be not Legos nor regular puzzles. It was kind of like a 2D plan of making buildings.
Oh.
Making homes, like the Swedish European style homes. Those very cozy homes.
Yeah, so sort of like those 3D puzzles that you put together, you piece together. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I was 8 years old, and I went to my dad and said, "Dad, but how can I make them? I don't know. It's 1,000 pieces." And he's like, "I don't know. You can figure it out." And it took me about 3 months to build my first one. And then I was like, man, I want to do something in life that would build a property from paper.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I never looked back. I always wanted to go. Every time I would go to school, a solid answer: architect.
Yeah.
But then through life, you discover what kind of trait lines or skill sets you discover yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I discovered myself at the very last semester of Montgomery College that I'm more of a people person.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing against the architects, more respect and kudos, empowerment to them that they could sit in front of a computer and design all day. I'm more of a people person. I want to talk to people. I want to reassure them that everything is going to be okay. I want to take care of them. I want to take care of my community. I'm bilingual. And I saw the 2008 burst of the bubble in real estate, like in high school.
Yeah.
So I was graduating high school, and I didn't know that whether I was gonna get a job in real estate. Again, real estate as a whole, okay, because what was going on, and I wanted to go at the design level. So from that point on, I was like, okay, let's just move forward, follow your dreams, Joel, because at the end of the day, it's about life for me. It's about being happy and provide service to others, one way or another. But from that point on, I was like, you know what? Architecture is great. I can pursue it, perform it, and do it. But am I really going to be happy?
Yeah.
That's the key word for me.
Yeah.
And that should be a key word for you. Are you going to be happy on performing what you do? So I sat down with me, myself, and I.
Okay.
I had one of those conversations.
Yeah.
Have you had those conversations?
Of course I have, yes.
And
I feel like I have them a lot, actually.
So, long story short, my career path was in real estate.
Okay.
One way or another.
Right.
Why? Because I feel like home, it's a symbol of stability. It's a symbol of nurturing, growth, and building memories. When I was 8, whether you're 8 years old, building a memory of providing a home for your imaginary friends that are going to build in that home, to becoming an investor and remodeling a property for the end user, right? So for me, in real estate as a whole, it's a rewarding industry.
It's very rewarding. I have to agree with you.
At the emotional level, at the physical level, and at a spiritual level, believe it or not.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get into that a little bit. So you kind of jumped ship from architecture,
yes,
into the real estate world. Your first job in real estate is what?
Commercial management.
Commercial management.
Commercial
Okay.
properties. I used to manage about 365 units.
Wow.
In Silver Spring.
Okay.
That's how I made the love of my life, which is my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she met me working. So.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah.
So in real estate, from architecture design level, I went to management.
Okay.
But not any management, not the regular commercial properties, but the subsidized housing.
Okay.
So HOC.
HOC. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. HOC. We used to manage about 4 different properties in their portfolios.
Okay.
And I used to be with Equity Management then. That's the name of the company.
Okay.
Which is a third party who will manage, let's say you are HOC and you have so much in your plate, but you need help with this.
Yeah.
They call it lease up. They were remodeling the entire community. So, and they needed additional help, a professional management company. I remember vividly the interview process. The property manager then, his name was Greg Coates. He believed in me. I was about 22 years old.
Yeah.
And just getting out of college with an associate's degree in architecture. And he's like, why would I believe in you? You've never been through a lease up. You've never been through a property management. And my response to him was, I get a book, I read every single page, and if I don't see an obstacle, I see opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
So he said that, do you rehearse that? And I'm like, no, that came from my heart. I remember it so vividly that I still remember the words that I used.
That's awesome.
So ever since then, he said that he talked to his regional manager, corporate.
Oh, yeah. I came from a corporate world. Yeah. So I know it very well. My interview, although I wouldn't say I had that kind of a line that you had by any means, I must have really impressed them. Because they were, well, let me back up. I didn't impress them on my very first interview. My very first interview, I didn't get hired.
What?
Yeah.
I'll hire you in the spot.
No,
I remember our interview.
I know our interview went great. I mean, I loved it. As soon as I left here, I was like, okay, this is it. I found my place. But no, I had interviewed for a sales position with a new home builder, and they didn't hire me. at first, but they said
But they missed out.
you know, we really like you. We want to hire you, but we just don't feel that you're salesperson material, essentially.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Ouch.
and I was like, okay. And they're like, yeah, we think you could do like
Right.
production, like project manager. It's like project manager. I don't know the first thing about building a house.
Wow.
I couldn't tell you one. I couldn't have told you anything. I mean, mind you, I'm coming from restaurant world. I'm coming from, management experience from a restaurant world, and that's what they're like. They were like, that's what we want. We want management experience that doesn't know how to build a house.
I gotcha.
So we can train you our way, essentially. And I was like, okay, all right. So my next interview,
Yeah.
they're like, we're gonna reach out to you when we're hiring for this type of position. And I was like, yeah, right.
Gotcha.
But they did. They called me, and I had an interview for what was essentially called a project manager or a production supervisor position, which is, like basically you're working on site of a new home construction community, and you're working with the different contractors that are out there. You're scheduling contractors. That's a lot of scheduling, essentially.
Yeah.
So you're scheduling like inspections and things of that nature. So, nevertheless, so I go in for my interview. Again, I Googled
You Google.
the night before basically how to build a house.
Wow. I mean,
And they were
Google is a powerful tool, guys.
Yeah. And they were like, do you know anything about building a house? I was like, well, I mean, I know what a footer is. I know what a foundation is.
2x4.
I just learned it last night.
like Tony,
literally
like
just
a Tony Stark kind of type of
within-
thing.
yeah,
When you learn quantum physics last night.
like literally within 24 hours, like 24 hours. And yeah, sure enough. But I think they saw through it. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they wanted the inexperience because they wanted to train me the way.
And that's the beauty about real estate, to tell you the
Yeah.
truth. I came from restaurant industry too.
Mhm.
Thank goodness for the Irish Inn at Glen Echo.
Oh yeah,
We've been there
before.
Yeah.
Yes.
So thanks to them, I pay my college.
Yeah.
And then from that point on, I went to real estate, like the HOC chapter of my life. I dedicated about 3 years of my life there. And then I met Miguel Angel through a course. Again, the same mindset about servants and providing a service to my community. Because I felt that my community, I'm Hispanic, so they were taking advantage of back in 2008 in the real estate sector so much because of the language barrier.
Right.
So
Right.
I took it personal to educate my community in their language. So then I wanted to become also a tax preparer, like assist in tax preparation. That's how I met Miguel, which is Sylvia's brother. I was tutoring him.
Yeah. Okay.
I was tutoring him. And Miguel, I love him to death. He's like, Joel, but how much I own you? I'm like, nothing, because through tutoring, I'm teaching you, but I'm teaching myself as well. So I'm learning as I go too. So the learning factor in any career, it's a major key factor, I should say.
Okay.
And you have the eagerness. And in real estate, if you have that eagerness to learn, and you don't feel that, okay, you're just gonna be stuck there. No, you have to have that eagerness in you, that fire that ignites to keep on learning. Then real estate is for you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Because you faced it.
Yeah, I mean, like I had to learn. I mean,
Yeah.
there was no way around it. I mean, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything about building a house. I didn't know anything about. I mean, at the time, even looking at separate trades, HVAC, electricians, plumbing, the framers,
The
people
cabinetry,
the excavators. You have so
The
many
foundation.
aspects. Yeah, you have so many aspects just to building a house.
True.
And yeah, I mean, it basically took me. I was probably in it for about a year and a half, and then.
and then
And then the market crashed.
so I was in high school.
Yeah, and they moved. They basically offered me a position in sales, ironically,
Yeah.
because initially they didn't think I was sales material. So they offered myself and 11 others. We were called the Dirty Dozen. So
Oh, really?
12
Who picked that name?
12 of us from production were asked to move to sales. And yeah, I was like, yeah, that's what I wanted to do from the get. Like, that's what I wanted to, I wanted to get into the sales side of the company. And then my career just took off from there. I mean, it was
Boom.
literally like, yeah, I mean, once I got into sales, I loved it. Like, it was, I mean, there's just something about helping families. And to your degree, like, granted, I mean, I went through it professionally, went through the downturn of the market.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see the side of the market, like the bad side, because we were a very conservative company. We had a very conservative lender.
You were the good people.
We were the good people. Yeah, I mean, we
They
really
just put
were.
it plainly, because
I mean,
there were
we
some
weren't- we weren't doing
predatory lenders out there.
Yeah, like we weren't doing the crazy stuff that you hear about.
Yeah.
So that was, and plus I was new, so I was pretty new during that time frame. So a lot of that stuff was pretty foreign to me. And like, no doc, no income,
That
no
was
doc.
scary.
Like, how does that work?
It's not sustainable.
Right.
It's not sustainable. It might be a quick buck for the big banks, but it's not sustainable as the economic downturn that it turned out to be.
But there was something about helping somebody get into the house that you just, that I just took so much pride in,
I agree with you.
And it made you feel good. And it was like, and then it just kind of became like a drug where you just wanted to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it.
It's like you're their hero.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you got in those 11 p.m. calls.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So,
I had a 911 worker.
What?
That would literally like text me and call me at like 4:00 in the morning, and she didn't do it on purpose. Like, she was like, she would think that she would just be like calling me or texting me
under no more schedule
to leave a
hours.
message, like knowing that I wouldn't. She didn't expect me to answer or to respond. But that's probably when she was up and she was alert, and that's when she was thinking about things. So she would just call and leave a message. And I'm like, what are you doing?
You know what? Kudos to my first responders. I assisted one police officer who will end up his shift around 1 a.m.
Oh.
So around 1:15, he would like send back the supporting documents.
Yeah.
Around 2 a.m., I was like, thank you.
Here you go.
But
a quick response like that, I understand. But sometimes in the middle of the night, it's gonna be.
It's kind of, but you know what? They're counting on us to deliver their home.
Yeah.
Either you are a realtor, a loan officer, or processor, underwriter, junior loan officer, junior processor.
There are so many aspects to real estate. I mean, we were talking earlier. I mean, you have the loan officer and the realtor, obviously, but there are so many more people that go in that play a part.
Yes.
I mean, you could even whittle it down to the trades folks. The HVAC, the plumbers, the electricians.
Yeah.
All those folks that if you're building a new home, obviously you're going to be part of your purchase. But also, too, I mean, you need these folks that if you buy a home that maybe needs some work, right, or maybe didn't pass inspection or something of that nature, there's still going to be trades folks that are still involved in real estate.
That's true. I mean, luckily for us, first and foremost, the number one skill that you have to have in real estate, it's people skills. People skills. If you're a people person, naturally, great. But there are also folks that not as people.
There's some behind the scenes.
They're behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You don't have to be constantly on the phone.
Yeah.
That also this beautiful real estate industry can house. Like, let's take, for example, the underwriter.
Right.
Have you ever seen a face-to-face underwriter?
No.
I haven't.
No.
Yeah, I probably have in one of my when I was a loan officer assistant.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be sitting pretty much next office to underwriter. He was the best though. He was coaching me on how to structure the deal because he was a LO before.
Okay.
Then he was like, you know what? I want to go more into the guidelines world. Honestly, underwriter is kind of the judge, and you as a loan officer, you're kind of like the attorney presenting a case to the judge
Right.
for the home to be bought.
Right. Right.
So there's different trade lines, but if you're a people person and you want to be in sales, great, you have it made.
Yeah.
If people skills are not as great, you could be behind the scenes,
Mm-hmm.
still helping other people.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the beauty of this industry.
Yeah,
And I can't get enough of.
There are so many aspects to this industry, like you've mentioned, sales. If you're into numbers, you're a numbers guy.
Yeah.
Obviously, financing side of things.
Yeah.
If you're into the construction and the trade side, you have that aspect.
True.
There are so many different sides to real estate that you can look at. What would you say is like what would you say is like one of the biggest benefits to having a career in real estate? Besides the pride, because we've talked about pride, and and we take a lot of pride in what we do, obviously, and it feels good.
Now, I feel like
But what else?
The biggest benefit for me personally,
Uh-huh.
I make and conduct my own time.
Okay.
All right, I schedule appointments, okay, and I also can schedule time with my family.
Mm-hmm.
It gives me that power, okay. Let's say March or April or June, it's not as busy, or springtime in real estate, it's busy. It's one of the busiest times ever.
Right.
Throughout the year. All right, I talk to my wife and tell her, listen, through this time, it's gonna be quite bumpy ride for me because it's the busiest springtime.
Spring. Right.
Springtime, and then summer it's coming. So then during fall, I can schedule more family time.
Mm-hmm.
Versus summer or springtime. So that power that you have with your own time, it's priceless to me.
You also have to be very disciplined, though, for
That's
that.
true. That's
so
true.
that's because you could very much get yourself into trouble.
Yeah.
And, and if you're scheduling your own time, you want to stick to that time, stick to the schedule, stick to an agenda.
True. But you can also flexibility.
Sure.
Flexibility. That's one. The rewarding part aspect of things for me, it's seeing a family walking through the door, because I'm also a realtor.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing in the final walkthrough that they are getting finally just hours, moments before the closing.
Yeah.
That rewarding aspect, it's great. And you providing a service to the community.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, for me, I started more as providing a service to the community. Flexibility on time. I'm a hard worker. You know me.
Oh, I do. Yeah, yeah, you do.
Sometimes I'm here at 6 in the morning. I leave around 11 p.m. But that's in my nature. You don't have to be.
Right.
You don't have to be.
Well, that's the beauty of a real estate career, right? Is that, you're making your own schedule, and you can make it a full-time job. You can make it a part-time job.
True.
If
or supplementary income to, let's say you're in IT.
Yeah.
But you have that eagerness to know and become an investor.
Yeah.
Because let's say you have 6-figure IT work, but you want to invest in real estate and, grow your portfolio or diversification, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can essentially do that, buy a property. My first investment property, guess how much it cost me? $6,000.
Oh, jeez.
$6,000. That was 2015.
Okay.
2015 in Baltimore.
Okay.
In Baltimore.
Yeah.
And that property gave me $45,000.
Wow.
It's like a snowball.
Yeah.
It's like a snowball. Of course, the reward there. It's there. The dollar sign's there.
There has to be some sort of reward to, buying and selling properties.
There is.
Yeah.
Some investors, they don't get involved in Baltimore because it's a red zone. So much as in Montgomery County.
What's a red zone?
Meaning that it's too low. There's not a lot of rewards for them. But I believe
so the property value is probably not going to go.
It's not going to
go
as
like it could in other
other subdivisions. But long story short, I want to uplift the community.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's Baltimore, Jessup, Montgomery County, or Charles County.
Yeah.
So I see opportunity of growth.
Yeah.
But that's me as a personal investor. This is me talking as an investor, okay, guys? Because I wear many hats. Sometimes I need to differentiate.
We need to like divvy up where you're talking
Yeah.
about here.
So as an investor, the entire United States or even the globe, because I also own properties in El Salvador.
Okay.
So El Salvador, it's a completely different ball game than
I'm sure.
the United States.
Yeah.
Over there, my first property cost me $2,000. Yeah, it's crazy. 2 bedroom, 1 bath,
Wow.
and it's more like a townhome living,
Okay.
more than a single family home, like a residential's like here.
Okay.
But over there, the game, it's different, and that's the beauty of this industry too.
Yeah.
You know, you could become a investor, a realtor, providing a service to the community, negotiating, the sale, protecting your buyer, protecting the seller's investor. Or you could become a loan officer in which you are negotiating top or the best interest rate for your clients, or structuring a deal for your client. If somebody has bad credit, you can essentially help them with a FHA loan, or guide them on how to repair the credit to move up the ladder to a conventional loan for the long term, right? There's so many things, and I experience it.
Yeah.
I experience it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So okay, so some of the benefits then being, obviously there's flexibility in your work, and depending upon if you want to be a full-time, a part-time, how disciplined you are.
Yeah.
Another benefit, of course, are just the rewards out of the reward that you get from helping somebody.
The dollar signs are there.
And the dollar signs, of course. I mean, so that can be very rewarding.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would also say, though, another big reward is just the networking aspect, right? The professional relationships that you are able to build.
True.
Out of a career in real estate. I've met a lot of my bestest, closest friends are all folks that I've met working in real estate. So networking is an essential part of a real estate career.
Correct.
Whether you're a realtor and you're going to your sphere of influence, right? You're a loan officer and you're reaching out to your realtor contacts and anybody that you can, anybody and everybody that you can
think
get
of
in front of. Same thing with insurance agents. Same thing with your title and settlement folks. I mean, so networking plays a huge role in your real estate career. But what, as a benefit to that, though, is that you're able to create some of the best relationships and some of the best folks, you get to meet.
I completely agree with you, Chad. and I essentially underevaluate the networking power.
Yeah?
I should network more.
You should.
I should network more.
I'm making you network more.
Yes, and thank you, honestly. And to you guys who are listening to us, honestly, the power of networking can, oh my gosh, leapfrog your career.
I think we could have another episode on networking.
It's just networking.
Yeah.
Just networking.
We'll do that.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
But essentially, it's in real estate, it's who you know to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
More, if of course it takes your effort, your knowledge, of course, but it's who you know to a degree.
Yeah,
it's who you know. That's gonna take your career path to a different level. Because of course you want to provide a service, but you also have to know what you're doing, know how to do it, and when to do it. And if you know who to combine forces with.
If you don't know, then you have to find somebody that does know.
Correct. Correct. So it's rewarding.
Yeah.
Decide that real estate is it's connecting people. It's about connecting people, and I feel like all this commotion about AI, it's gonna lose the human touch. But I feel that at the end of the day, clients, customers, professionals, they need the human touch for it to be.
There is that aspect to real estate that is, I was reading an article the other day there's a lot of changes coming up
Sure.
with real estate in the industry and how sales are going to change or evolve, let's say.
Yeah, right now we're at the very
Yeah.
beginning of the
Yeah.
stage. We don't know where we're gonna end up,
Yeah.
but I feel that the human touch is crucial.
Yeah. This particular article, though, that I was reading implied, I
Okay.
should say, that it would go the way of travel agencies.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What do you think about that? I have a
Let
hard
me,
time.
let me have a sip. Let me have a sip.
I have a hard time with that. I feel like
All right. So
You know,
we're living in a generational aspect, right, of things that we want to have a crystal ball, look into the future. I have taken evaluating the new developments that are going on with AI and many things in real estate, but I feel that the human touch, it's still gonna be there.
yeah, yeah. You're still gonna need some guidance to a certain extent. At least,
Yes.
I mean, I think about the contracts that we get, and
They're like, what, how thick are they?
they're like that thick,
Yeah.
and to a layman, that's gonna be tough to get through, right?
True.
Because there's a lot in there to know, and you need somebody to rely on, whether it's a buyer's agent or a listing agent.
And there's a thing about, let's say, the first time that you have a conversation or interaction with a human being, you can sense how genuine that person is.
Right.
There's, to a degree, are emotional, psychological. You put in your mind, your brain, and your spirit into it, that AI, it's not going to be able to relate.
Yeah, and I agree. I feel like this is the biggest purchase that somebody's going to make. Most likely, this is the biggest purchase that somebody's going to make in their lifetime.
Correct.
Even auto sales haven't gone the way of travel agents. I mean, you look at auto sales.
The travel agencies, their doomsday was pretty much the internet.
Right. Exactly. And that's where this article that I was referencing sort of took real estate sales, because you have your Redfins and your Zillows and you have all that stuff out there. You have all these tools out there that are available for folks.
But buying a home is not taking a vacation.
But it's not.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm right there with you. With you. I just kind of give it a little bit pushback, as far as like, you have all these tools that are becoming available and making it easier. I mean, it's not, don't get me wrong. It's not taking out we're not taking out the realtor, but these tools have made things a little bit easier for folks, that whether it's research or they're looking at listings or
and for me, let's empower the community.
Sure.
For me, let's give power to the community, because the more educated they are, the better. I'll speak for myself and my day-to-day routine. If a client comes knowledgeable what they want and what they do want to purchase, it's going to be a smoother transaction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I feel like the more power the end consumer has, it's going to be way better in the long run.
Yeah.
For you as a career path, if you're thinking of getting involved in real estate, okay, that human touch is there. You have to be a people person. You have to be knowledgeable what you do, and if you're doing it as transparent and you genuinely doing it because you want to help others, this is your career.
Yeah.
You could become a lender. You could become a realtor, title company, an inspector, a plumber. It's a providing service to others. And I feel like that's why real estate is so rewarding to me, because deep down in my heart, I want to provide service to others.
Yeah. So let's talk about that then. Let's talk about, how does somebody get into real estate? Where do they start? Okay,
I started in property management.
Okay.
From that point on, I went to manage. I was an office manager.
Okay.
Then I became a realtor. I'm sorry, I became a loan officer before I became a realtor. I became a loan officer assistant. Pardon me, loan officer assistant, and then a processor, and then
So you really worked your way
I,
up.
I, I work I work
So-
my way through real
yeah,
estate.
yeah.
And
But then you also have the opportunity to just jump in. I mean, there are classes for folks that want to
Sure.
get into real estate,
It's true.
whether it's being a real estate agent,
Yep.
or even a loan officer. There are classes and courses for becoming a loan officer.
Yeah. And for me, it was more like a natural development of things,
Hmm.
more than self-induced through course. Since I was an office manager, then I was, but my realtors are servicing the community this way. I could do the same thing. But then the need of the business needed more of a loan officer assistant. Then I went through to take the loan officer course. That was insane.
It was.
Oh
I
my
know.
gosh.
Yeah.
I don't want to remember it, but
I kind of went the opposite career path that you did, where I started in sales, right?
uh-huh.
And I had to get licensed. I had my real estate license, and went through Maryland real estate courses, and then when I went to get my loan officer, when I went to get my license for loan officer,
Those
that
were the most
was-
painful 6 months of my
It
life.
was tough. It was
I
tough.
mean, at the academic level,
yeah,
not even
yeah.
college. I'm sorry, but so many rules and regulations.
But don't let that deter you.
No,
Don't let it
that.
deter you, because
Nope.
you'll get it. You'll
You'll
pass
get
it.
it.
You'll get it.
Yeah.
It's just quite, it's not as easy as what you would think
You
it
know
would
what?
be.
I thought it was gonna be easy
Yeah.
because I was doing it.
Right.
I was in the game.
Right.
And
Right.
then I went with this entitled mentality mindset. Like, I do this every day. The test is going to be a piece of cake. Because the class wasn't that hard. But it was just a lot of memorizing,
Right.
that I had to do.
Hmm.
RESPA, HMDA, Regulation Z.
Oh, yeah.
Remember those?
Oh, yeah.
So, but since I was in the game already, I was like, you know what? This is gonna be easy. When I took the test, I failed.
Yeah.
I'll keep it 100 with you. I failed
Wow.
the first time. The second time, I failed. I passed it after the third time.
Wow.
Yeah, but I passed it.
You passed it, though.
I passed it.
Yeah.
But
And you stuck with it.
I stuck with it,
Yeah.
and now I don't regret it.
Yeah.
Going through all those hours of studying. I did flashcards. I don't know how you learn. I learned through flashcards.
I did flashcards on my laptop, actually. So where I would type out the question and then flip the answer on the other side.
Now, for me,
So
I'm
just go through
remember the
like
touch.
a whole, no.
I'm all about the touch. But regardless, though, it's whatever you learn.
Yeah.
Whatever you learn,
Yeah.
and in the long run, you have to find yourself, right? In any career path,
Mhm.
I see actors who become writers who become actors, and still, right there, it's about finding what makes you happy.
Yeah.
For me, it's serving others. Period.
Okay.
Whether I'm a loan officer, a realtor, or an investor, I would just want to uplift the community.
Well, you know what? I think that's a great place to end our conversation. So
Yeah.
I do. I think you're you're a very genuine guy, and I can tell
you.
that, what you do is, there's a lot of pride in what you do.
Yeah.
And like you said, you're here to help others and serve others. So I think that's amazing. So again, Joel, I thank you for coming by today.
No, thank you so much, and thank you for listening to our podcast.
Yeah, and I think we'll have to have you back. We're going to talk about networking.
Networking. Ooh, yeah, that would be brilliant.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good topic to have you back on and talk about.
Beautiful.
So, all right. Well, to all of our folks out there listening, we appreciate you stopping by and taking the time to listen to us today. And I'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Cheers.